Hello there, with me, Hendy Gui, and this is your 5 p.m. English news on TVS. Let's dive into the news. The proclamation of emergency to curb the COVID-19 pandemic should not be politicized, and the context of its importance should be understood.
Senior Minister for Security Cluster Dato Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said that the proclamation was to facilitate and strengthen all government actions in controlling the spread of the virus by introducing new ordinances. The government will continue to function as usual at the federal and state levels throughout the period of emergency implementation. Ismail Sabri said that the preparation of the draft ordinance by the AGC was running smoothly and expected to be announced in the near future. Once announced, the enforcement of the ordinance would be final and immediate. If the ordinance is agreed to, it will be presented to the Yang di-Pertuan Agong. Once approved by the King, it will become law. The ordinance enables the Prevention and Control of Infectious Diseases Act 1988, Act 342, to be amended. It will increase its effectiveness, including increased penalties for anyone who violates relevant laws and regulations, and is effective during the emergency period only.
Individuals who feel unwell after visiting COVID-19 high-risk areas in Sarawak are urged to get themselves screened and tested at the nearest public health clinic or private hospital.
Those who had traveled to Sri Aman, Betong, Sibu, Kanawit, Dalat, Miri, Beluru, and Sabau to visit family and friends or attend events such as weddings and funerals should come forward for COVID-19 screening. Sarawak State Health Department said individuals who become unwell and show symptoms and those who had traveled to high-risk districts should also go for screening. In view of the many positive cases detected in longhouses, longhouse folk are advised to get tested at the nearest health clinic if they feel unwell or experience symptoms.
Sibu Division Disaster Management Committee is allowing companies listed under essential services to operate beginning January 27th. Following this announcement, Sibu Central Police Station was swarmed by hundreds of employees wanting to obtain permission for their workers.
The permits will only allow for travel to and from work. However, Sibu City Council Chairman, Councillor Clarence Ting Ing Hor, regretted the situation that has transpired. He said the station was overcrowded with the public desperately lining up in long queues in order to obtain permits despite the unabating COVID-19 situation there. Ting lambasted the reckless action of overcrowding the station just to obtain permits, saying that this behavior showed that many are still not taking COVID-19 seriously. Ting added that they are as if prepared to take risks by resuming their businesses despite the high number of cases in the district. The use of police permits will be enforced tomorrow only in Sibu.
The issues surrounding home-based teaching and learning, also known as PDPR, must be addressed immediately by the authorities. This is a proactive step in handling constraints in the implementation of this new approach.
Even though the measure to establish PDPR is seen as correct in that it can reduce the risk of COVID-19 infections, certain issues would need to be addressed. Among others, gadgets and internet access are top priority for disadvantaged rural communities. Deputy President of the Consumer Voice Association of Sarawak, Dato Shamsuddin Abdul Rahman, in a report published in a local portal, said these issues affect many rural students. He said this has caused students to be left behind in their studies. Meanwhile, Sarawak Teachers Union President Adam Prakash Abdullah stressed that immediate action must be taken. This includes upgrading internet access in areas with no internet facilities. He explained that difficulties in acquiring telecommunication devices have affected the learning process that has now transitioned to the new norm. STU had also proposed to the Malaysian Education Ministry to allow rural schools to operate as usual.
Welcome back. Moving on to current developments. The state development policy is now focused on rural areas. To that end, the Sarawak government has allocated as much as 9.832 billion ringgit in the 2021 state budget. In a previous State Legislative Assembly meeting, Chief Minister Datuk Patinggi Abang Johari Tunopeng said a large part of the development expenditure is focused on rural areas.
The large allocation is in line with the state government's aim to accelerate development in rural areas in the effort to bridge the gap between urban and rural areas. For this purpose, 4.251 billion ringgit, or 67% of the total development expenditure, will go to implementing rural programs and projects. The remaining 2.053 billion ringgit, or 33%, is reserved for urban areas. All initiatives, projects, and certain programs will transform the state economy and the prosperity of Sarawakians. There's no doubt that the people have long awaited these plans, especially those in rural areas that still need continuous development. For pensioner Matthias Raya, changes enjoyed by the people nowadays is significantly different than from before, and he hopes that development can continue through long-term planning.
Pembangunan jalan sudah ada, mungkin jalan tambah baik lagi, dibesarkan lagi, bangunan kerajaan di Serikei akan diperbesar dan bertambah lagi. Dan saya fikir seperti dewan-dewan untuk rakyat berjumpa lebih besar, tak susah lagi.
Despite the drastic physical changes seen in Serikei and its surroundings, there are still some things that need to be improved in order to ensure balance in the people's socio-economics. This includes plans to establish an agriculture park in Sarawak Central Region that is famous for its food basket industry.
Idea-idea yang konkret, terutama dalam meningkatkan taraf ekonomi penduduk di Serikei. Sekarang kita dalam perancangan apa yang kita diberitahu untuk menubuhkan satu agriculture, agro pertanian. Jadi pembangunan yang berterusan daripada YB yang dikatakan berkelibar lah. Terutama dari segi kita katakan futuristic minded. Menggantikan yang dulu-dulu tu, sekurang-kurangnya menampakkan impak pembangunan yang berterusan.
The allocation of 1.1 billion ringgit to implement people's projects, rural transformation projects, and minor rural projects is hoped to realize the development of basic public facilities, simultaneously upgrading the people's living standards. With a long-term plan under the Ulu Rajang Development Agency, Serikei could be promoted into a city. This is based on the division's rapid growth, as it is situated in the valley of Sarawak and the focus of people in northern and southern Sarawak.
Sekarang sedang dibuat sana itu dari Serikei pergi Tanjung Manis. Nanti Serikei satu hari in future itu banyak maju lah. Sebab Serikei itu macam sentro. Sebab Serikei tengok itu dari datang Ropang punya orang, Selatok itu itu dekat itu Betong, itu Lau Pakang, anyway lah, semua boleh datang kumpul di Serikei. Melalui ini Tanjung Manis punya jalan, Serikei punya jalan ke Tanjung Manis. Supaya ini Serikei sekarang saya orang kasih upah banyak orang sudah datang. Sekarang saya cakap sama tuan, Serikei sini sekarang boleh bikin tengok hari Sunday pun boleh. Saturday, semua penuh, traffic jam. Macam city. Saya kira satu hari saya harap in future Serikei boleh maju macam ini. Tidak lama boleh jadi city lah.
Serikei's population is so far estimated to be more than 200,000 people.
And that concludes our 5 p.m. English news on TVS. Don't forget to tune in for the Nightline at 11:30 p.m. with Cheryl Shaminato. My name is Handy Gui. Have a pleasant day.